งานนิทรรศการสื่อการสอนใหม่ Worlddidac เอเชีย 2021 ในปีนี้ภูมิใจนำเสนอ TVET Connect Virtual โดยจัดขึ้นระหว่างวันที่ 20-22 ตุลาคม ภายใต้รูปแบบออนไลน์ ไม่ว่าคุณจะอยู่ที่ไหน ก็สามารถเข้าร่วมกิจกรรมกับ Worlddidac เอเชียได้เพียงแค่ปลายนิ้วคลิก TVET Connect Virtual เวทีนานาชาติเพื่อพัฒนาอาชีวศึกษา ภายใต้แคมเปญรวมพลังขับเคลื่อน 3D Partnership พบกับสัมมนาพัฒนาทักษะบุคลากรตามแนวทาง EEC โมเดล TVET Showcase การจัดแสดงนวัตกรรมและเทคโนโลยีจากมหาวิทยาลัยและวิทยาลัยอาชีวะชั้นนำ Live Technical Visit เยี่ยมชมศูนย์ปฏิบัติการต้นแบบตามหลัก EEC ร่วมสร้างเครือข่ายระหว่างสถาบันและภาคอุตสาหกรรมทั้งในประเทศและภูมิภาคอาเซียน และโชว์พิเศษจากมาลาทุกวันเวลา 14 นาฬิกา นอกจากนั้นท่านจะยังได้พบกับผู้ผลิตและตัวแทนจำหน่ายสื่อการเรียนการสอนแบบครบวงจรไม่ว่าจะเป็นเทคโนโลยีทางด้านอาชีวศึกษาจากแบรนด์ชั้นนำสื่อดิจิทัลห้องเรียนอัจฉริยะสื่อการเรียนรู้สเต็มศึกษาและปฐมวัยได้ทั้งแบบออนไลน์และออฟไลน์สามารถลงทะเบียนนัดหมายเพื่อเข้าพบผู้ประกอบการและลงทะเบียนเข้าร่วมชมงานได้ตั้งแต่วันนี้ฟรีไม่มีค่าใช้จ่ายที่ Line @WDDA หรือสแกน QR Code นี้
สวัสดีค่ะพบกับพวกเราทีมงานนิทรรศการสื่อการสอนใหม่อีกเช่นเคยนะคะกับกิจกรรมออนไลน์ Workshop Academy สำหรับปีนี้นะคะเรายังมีกิจกรรมดีๆมากมายไม่ว่าจะเป็นทั้งทางด้านวิชาการ Digital Learning และเวิร์กช็อปต่างๆโดยวิทยากรผู้ทรงคุณวุฒิจากสถาบันการศึกษาชั้นนำไม่ว่าจะเป็นทั้งในประเทศและต่างประเทศมีทั้งแบบออนไลน์และเจอกันแบบตัวจริงเสียงจริงอีกด้วยค่ะ
หากไม่อยากจะพลาดกิจกรรมดีๆแบบนี้นะคะสามารถรับชมรายละเอียดเพิ่มเติมได้ที่ www.worlddidacasia.com ค่ะหรือที่ Facebook Fanpage นะคะ Worlddidac Asia ค่ะรวมถึงการสมัครสมาชิกนะคะเพื่อเป็นส่วนหนึ่งกับเราค่ะกับ Asia Educator Club นะคะโดยท่านนะคะสามารถสมัครสมาชิกเพื่อเข้าร่วมกิจกรรมดีๆตลอดทั้งปี 2564 ได้นะคะโดยรายละเอียดการสมัครสมาชิกสามารถรับชมได้ระหว่างรายการนะคะโดยจะมีตัววิ่งด้านล่างค่ะและในวันนี้นะคะวิทยากรผู้ทรงคุณวุฒิของเรานะคะก็จะเข้ามาแวะเวียนให้ความรู้กับทุกท่านนะคะรวมถึงครั้งถัดไปนะคะก็จะมีวิทยากรผู้ทรงคุณวุฒิทั้งจากในประเทศและต่างประเทศค่ะเข้ามาให้ความรู้กับทุกท่านผ่านทางช่องทางของ Worlddidac Asia ค่ะ
ย้ำกันอีกครั้งหนึ่งนะคะรายละเอียดเกี่ยวกับเวิร์กช็อปออนไลน์ทุกท่านสามารถที่จะคลิกเข้าไปดูได้ที่เว็บไซต์ Worlddidac Asia ค่ะ
และในวันนี้นะคะวิทยากรผู้ทรงคุณวุฒิของเราก็พร้อมที่จะมาพบกับทุกท่านแล้วนะคะขอเชิญรับชมรายการของเราและพบกับวิทยากรผู้ทรงคุณวุฒิของเราได้เลยค่ะ
Hi, I'm Fumio NAKAYA. I'm a Deputy Director of SEED, Osaka Kyoiku University, Osaka National University of Education. My majors are Science Communication Education and Marine Biology. This is today's outline about the primary school in Japan, science textbook, experiments, art and craft, and teacher training. Today, we would like to share information with a real-time interactive system Mentimeter. If you would like to participate, please scan the code and join. First, I would like to explain about the timetable and the number of hours of science classes in Japanese primary schools. School starts at 8 a.m. in morning. Most primary school pupils walk or take public transportation to school. In the morning, there are 4 periods. In the afternoon, 2 periods. One period is 45 minutes long. Lunch break is for lunch and playtime and cleaning their school and their classroom. After that, to afternoon period, then the children go home at usually 3:30 p.m. Children clean up the class and the school, then everywhere, every day. Cleaning the science lab is very popular for them. They would because they want to the science lab there. In Japanese primary school, about 100 science classes in a year. Students study science 3 times a week. The main goals of science in Japan are to foster a love of nature and to develop scientific way of seeing and thinking. Here are some of our science textbooks. The textbook is 200 pages long. The weight's about 300 grams. This is designed to be as light and thin as possible because students carry every day textbook home every day. This is a textbook for grade 3. Each grade level textbook contains about 10 topics. Each topic always includes observations and experiments. Then you can see right page here, the toy making. I remember making toys in science class when I was a child. In grade 4 is a lot of observations of environment and astronomical objects. Students learn how to use the science lab and how to do experiments safely. Grade 5 has easy experiments with chemicals. Before that, once again, students learn how to use the science lab and how to experiment safely again. Grade 6 has experiments with chemicals. They use hydrochloric acid and base solutions. Then, that's chemicals really difficult, really dangerous. Then, before that, once again, students learn how to use the science lab and how to experiment safely. In the recent curriculum, at the end of the grade 6, there are more topics on environment issue and sustainability, the SDGs. Next, let's talk about the page layout of a science textbook. In Japanese science textbook, 2 pages spread in one lesson. One lesson, 2 pages. Students' experiments and observation method are always printed on the right-hand page. Water warming in this experiment, too. The method is printed on the right page. The method and results are printed separate. Next page. The next day studies and next lesson. The reason for this is that we want students to be able to all make good predictions, then acquiring data and learn to summarize the data in next period. Yes. Why? Why do we do experiments in science? The answer is simple, because it's fun. Then, the experiments and observations understand better about the science, phenomena, and structures. Children have simple question about science. They have their question, why do we learn science? Yes, that is a simple question for children. Nowadays, there are many questions about the medical news, about the drug and so vaccines. Then, some kids are interested in electric car and motorbikes. Also, everyone interested in the story about the shaving up. To understand the mechanism of muscle cell growth, then we can find effective weight loss method. The Japanese National Assessment Board showed that school with highest frequency of experiments also has higher science score for children. Schools where experiments are rare score lower. The more frequent school, experiment frequent school, had higher scores. I'd like to talk about the Japanese National Assessment of Academic Ability. The target is all K6 and K9 students in Japan. Assessment of Japanese and math are every year. Assessment of science is every 3 years. The problem type of 2018 is knowing. Knowledge base is 60%. Applying is 40%. Then the format of science question is dialogue. We are using the national assessment as the core of our PDS cycle of education. I will introduce the experience of science experiments in national assessment. The concept of teacher training was developed by Dr. Kawami of Kyoto Sangyo University. I will explain the outline of content of national assessments. One of the children found a question in her life. Tea leaves were dancing in the pot. Then he had a question. Her question was, how does the water warm up? They designed an experiment. Then they predict and discussed with each other. This is what the problem is. The solvers experience the process of problem-based learning. As a first question, let's consider a basic question. Please visit Menti. There are 3 typical choices. Then you have 20 seconds to choose one answer. The first is circle, and second is radio, and third is up and flow. Did you choose? Okay. Please remember your answer. From here, we will conduct an experiment. Here is the second question. Let's observe water. Let's observe the water in beaker using paint. Then second question. You have 20 seconds again. Then please choose one answer. Which figure best describes the flow of paint? 1 is circle and radial, and up and flow down. Did you choose one? Please remember your answer. Then, I will show the movie. Then, so I really want to do experiment with you. Yes. Reproduce the experiment of Japanese elementary school students. Please observe carefully. Did you observe how the paint went up and down and up again? You could observe the cycle of the paint. You choose number 1. Congratulations. The third question. I will show the third question. Expand with temperature visible ink. In Japan, thermal ink. Some ink is a liquid color in blue at room temperature, and color change pink over 40 degrees Celsius. We heat it in the beaker or test tube. You can observe how the water part turn red. There are 3 typical choices. Then you have 20 seconds to choose one answer. Which figure shows the correct change of the some ink? Did you choose one? Okay, time up. Please remember your answer. Some ink are liquid water. Then heat. The experiment showed in video. I really want also this experiment I want to do with you. I will show a video. Then I reproduce the experiment of Japanese primary school student in science lab. Then please observe carefully. Let's go. Did you observe the color change? Some ink. The color of the ink was divided to layers. Then there is no clear cycle. You choose 3. Congratulations. Oops. That's strange. Why? Why was the difference between the 2 results? The paint shows a cycle. The some ink is 2 layers. The students, pupils, start to think about these situations. Then, sometimes the Japanese teacher provide just a small assist. The sample clue is this. The reason for this, that the color change of the some ink shows the distribution of heat. The paint, the movement of paint shows blah blah blah. Then, just as assist. The teacher helped all learners to focus on the problem. This is where the real science begins. The national assessment is designed to give both students and teachers a chance to think deeply. I will show the next experiment. Here, experiment for learning about electricity in Japan. Yes, learning about electricity is difficult for many students to realize. On the other hand, children and students have a knowledge about the LED is energy saving. But how we can help them realize the knowledge is true? Furthermore, how can help them realize the difference between fluorescent light and LED? Then I will show experiment in Japan. How about experiment like this? This is a very simple Japanese electrical lab equipment. Try lighting 3 different bulbs with a hand generator. The first one is an incandescent bulb. She looks hurt. Need power. Next, let's introduce LED light experiment. The handle seems light, not heavy, but it needs to be fast. We got the result of 2 light bulbs, filament lamp and LED bulbs. Now, where do you think the fluorescent light will be located? Please answer your prediction on 2 dimensions in mentimeter. You have 20 seconds to answer. Okay. Did you answer? Switch to fluorescent light. Did you see the difference? She had to turn it quickly. Quickly fast to get it to turn. Filament lamp is here, and LED lamp is fast and right here. Then fluorescent light is not heavy, but so quick here. Then fluorescent bulb more quickly than LED lights, not heavy as filament lamp. Theory is important, but not enough. We want the children to really feel the wonder. Next, let's do simple applied chemical experiment. Yes, the material in a dipper absorbs a lot of water. You can make a battery from dipper material. Let's go. it returns to its original color when it discharges. This quiz is open-ended. We want to foster desire to know the answer. That is not easy. Then there is a recipe. Now for the this recipe is for the material this experiment. Please give it a try. We will introduce STEAM education in traditional Japanese art and crafts. This is a toyland. There was a topic of art and craft in grade 3 science textbook. Based on the science learning content, learning activity to make. Japanese primary school students take part in arts and crafts class twice a week. The create art, the painting expressions. Then they also learn about machine tools. Grade 6 students understand the mechanism of machine tools. They learn to use them in a good way. The arts and crafts class is very popular with children. I was also excited as a child. Then, I introduced Toyland. Now, let me introduce our fishing experiment. Please have fun. She makes something. Can you guess what is making? Let's go. She was very good at fishing. I lost. Let me introduce you to the origin of science experiment-based education. It seems that education using science labs started in England around 1900. At that time, the educational method was introduced to Japan and spread through the country. They had been conduct experiment and discussed from grade 1 in England now. These photos show laboratories in England and Japan 100 years ago, about 100 years ago. It's interesting to see the expressions on children's faces, and teachers 100 years ago had a hard expression. Then, during the teacher training, the teacher confirmed the importance of science. We have so many teacher training in Osaka Kyoiku University and in Japan. They also recognize the fun of science experiments. Now, if they have a fun, their student will have a fun too. Now, I explain the how to get the teacher teaching license outlined in Japan. There are two ways to become a teacher in Japan. If people want to be primary elementary school teachers, they need to study at the Faculty of Education. Then, school internship is 4 weeks for primary school teachers. Then they get the teacher's license. If they pass the teacher employment examinations, they can be a teacher. The junior high school teacher training license is really different. They can obtain by earning teaching credit in various faculties. Other than Faculty of Education, the school internship is 2 or 3 weeks. They are a student of teacher training course. Here are some scenes from the science education method class. In my class, I emphasize the practice, demonstration, experiments. Students evaluate each other, then demonstrations, then they enjoy and learning from each other. Students also learn digital video content, create skills. They are able to evaluate their own class objectively, which make learn more effective. This experiment is a coin cell battery experiment. This is a scene from school internship. Trainees observe each other's classes to brush up. They learn lesson study method. He is a trainee. The studies now this class is kinetics, junior high school science. The trainee and trainee. They are observed main trainees class. The supervisor is here. Lesson study and lesson plan sheet is very important. In Japan, one of the essential skills for Japanese teachers is to be able to create a formal lesson plan sheet. The lesson study is also discussed based on the lesson plan. Yes. That is my presentation about science education in Japan. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Fumio Nakaya. My major is science education and science communication and marine biology. My hobby is just fishing, electrical fishing. Okay.
Hi, I'm Andrew Gang. I'm from the company Canis for science kits and instruments. I'm here today to facilitate Naga Sensei's session. Thank you. これでいいよな。この Q&A を待ってる。
Yes, Jen, please free questions.
To provide science during outbreak コロナの時にどうやって実験をやるって。
In Japan? In Japan, almost the same in primary school. But so group experiment is become so rare. The experiment is one by one. 一人ずつって感じかな。
コロナの時に一人ずつで実験やる、あとセッションを受ける。The experiment session is reduced, and the experiment is conducted one by one with the teacher and one-to-one, one teacher, one student. Then the next step, one teacher, one student, in that form.
Just a little bit preparation is difficult.
Yeah, preparation is difficult. So overall, there's a reduction in the number of experiments done during the COVID period. それでいいよな。
いいですね。
最初の質問。
How
Students provide after school science class. なんか部活動ですね、サイエンスが。
That's cool. Usually in Japanese primary school, so science club is once a week, the Wednesday. Then 1 hour or 2 hours. Then they enjoy. So sometimes we university professor go to their school then and provide opportunity.
レッスン。レッスン。そのサイエンスクラブの時ですか During the science club or other?
あとは液体窒素の実験とか。
なるほど。これ、小学校、中学校、高校とも同じですか
That's the story is primary school.
Primary school.
Secondary school, junior high school, and high school. They usually have the science club. Then almost every day, they enjoy the original experiment, or so they enjoy the inquiry activity.
So just how Naga Sensei mentioned, for elementary school, is once per week, and for secondary school, junior high and junior and then high schools is almost every day up to themselves. Then other than that, sometimes university teachers like Naga Sensei also go down to schools to give special lessons for them.
Yeah. So this is a Japanese experiment STEAM book. Then primary school students, science class, they enjoy that they select like this. So many experiments they select enjoy the experiments.
So Naga has mentioned that there are many interesting experiments that is not found in the textbook, and this is additional publication that the students or the teachers can refer to. Yeah.
Yeah. 時々自分たち、そうだね、その教科書に書いた実験もう一回やったりとかするけどね。
なるほど。繰り返して。
Sometimes, so primary school students in science club, so なんていうか、they experiment, so なんていうの、前にやった実験もう一回やるっていう。
repeat.
Repeat.
So what they
in
have,
science club.
they done their experiments in the class. Then during science club, they repeat the experiments. Now there's another question. Just now, how many students are there in the class? Primary school. どれぐらい学生とかいる？一つクラスの中。
Japanese primary school student is many. 35.
Secondary school also.
Secondary school, junior high now is 40.
Okay.
Then a few years later is 35.
A few years later. So for elementary schools about 30. For junior high school and high school it's about 40. But the government is reviewing, Ministry of Education is reviewing the system, and like as I mentioned that a few years later, the numbers will reduce to 30, 35.
Yes. Yeah. So, the reason, so Japanese primary school, junior high school students many. The reason is so small class. Small class is very fun and very so good education. But so we need so cost. Small class. 少人数学級はコストがかかる。だからそうすると先生の質が下がってしまうので、
少人数の先生の質が下がる
ので、それで日本は人数の多いクラスを維持しているっていう。
なるほど。でもなんでなんか減るって最後なんか数年後。そしたら先生の質も減る。
そこが問題。
Okay. Naga Sensei mentioned that if the class is a smaller size, the overall cost for the maintaining the class, that means the teacher, if you use, that means there will be more classes and more teachers will be needed, the cost will be higher. Yeah. So the initial plan or the plan up to now is that the government has classes that are larger size, up to 40, which Naga has mentioned just now for junior high school. So the next problem is that in next few years, they will try to reduce the numbers, but they need to increase the quality of the teachers that are teaching the lessons during the classes. So that's the next problem that they need to face. Yeah.
Then so government also supports the budget.
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
So there will be, just like I said, additional budgets to get more teachers, more teachers or teachers training.
Yes, both. Teacher training and teacher numbers increase.
Okay, so to increase the number of teachers and also to increase the quality of the teachers that are teaching, conducting the lessons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Japanese education policy.
Yeah, and then how many years later? 3 years?
So sorry, exactly it's a year.
Okay, so it's an estimate about 3 to 5 years, I think. We see in the news that the government is reviewing the system now. Yeah.
In European countries, is small. They have the small class, but so they need so much cost. So teachers' quality is decrease, and so lesson time is shorter.
Oh, narrow.
That is not. That is both sides. It's good side and bad side.
No.
And Japanese and Korea is a high quality teacher, and but so many students. The long time study is that is our side.
I see.
Our side.
I see. So it's they compared with the European models before they come up with the 30 and the 40 numbers of students. Just one more question: How Japanese support students learning at home during COVID? COVID の時に家でどういうふうに勉強する？なんか政府学校はどうやってサポートするとか、そういうオンラインのこととか、そういったビデオとかサイト。
So, we provide so many online study. So last year we have the Giga School concept. So every student, our government provides iPad or Chromebooks or Windows tablet to provide every student. Every primary school student. That is a Giga School concept.
Right.
After that, we provide the online study opportunity.
Yes.
But so we try, but so everything is not succeed. We are trying.
So they are still trying to pick out the best rate, but there are two points to note. Number one is that the schools have increased the number of online platforms available for students, like videos, just now Naka-san mentioned. The second point is, just now Naka-san mentioned Giga School. It is equivalent to the American system, one PC, one computer, one laptop per student. This Giga School planned by the government is actually 5 years plan, but during the COVID, they shortened it actually to finish one PC per student by this year. By this year. So now almost every student in the school have a laptop or computer. However, just like Sensei mentioned, there's still problems. The online system of learning is still not complete. There are still some issues that need to be solved.
So another side, so infrastructure is a difficult problem.
Right.
One another difficulty is teacher skills.
Yes. So you mentioned two things. One, the infrastructure, maybe like the network, or whether the student have an online Wi-Fi at home. And the second thing is the teacher skills to teach online. How a science project level in Japan. How a science project. Can you not be clearer on the questions? How does the teacher assign science project to the students at each level? What kind of science project? Do you mean what kind of science project the teachers assign to the students at each level? Is it correct? We need to clarify that. The question is not very clear. Like 学年によって、どうやってどんなサイエンスプロジェクトをアサイン与えるのをどうやって
でももう教科書に決まってるからね。
ああ、なるほど。教科書に決まってる内容で、それに沿って、サイエンスプロジェクトを得る。
サイエンスプロジェクト、
課題研究みたいな。
This science project is just on their 彼ら自身。
でもまず教科書の内容で、そこから課題研究のどれを。
そうね。So in Japan, science experiments provides us based on the textbook. So usually 20 or 30 science experiment. Then, I see. In summer, in summer vacation. In summer vacation, in summer vacation, they try to each まあ、なんていうの、なんていうの、彼ら自身が勝手に決めるからね、これはね。
ああ、なるほど。その学年
とかそういう
じゃなく
のじゃなくて、
て、
もう勝手にやってる。
勝手にやってる。でもそのハード度が高いなんか課題とかあるんですか？その勝手にとても難しいのを選んで自己的な方。
まあそれはそれで仕方がないっていう感じ。
ああ、なるほど。で、先生がそこにコーチングなんか教えるところで。Just like Sensei mentioned, during summertime, they choose their own projects. So the teachers don't assign specific projects for them. So the students choose their own projects they like to do. So it can be very difficult projects, can be very easy projects. So it's up to them to choose. And if it's very difficult projects and the results are very difficult to be produced, then the teachers will be there to help to facilitate their projects. I hope it answers your question. Yeah.
Usually they try their own research project. They want. Yeah, sometimes it's succeed, sometimes it's.
How important どれくらい重要ですか？ What's the impact of learning science?
Science.
In a practical life. 一つはそのどういう重要性、どれくらい重要と、あと我々の実際の生活の中に実験は重要ですか？
So very interesting question. Assessment of national assessment is research about so recognition about science and Japanese and must for the elementary school student pupils. Then they most loved subject is science. The next is Japanese, and after that is science. Japanese and science is same. Then, but which subject is most important is that they recognize that most important subject is Japanese and secondary science, math. Then importance is science is became low.
No.
They enjoy science, but so they usually importance of science is in life is not so high. European country is American or so Southeast Asian countries in the students recognize high. Then Japanese students score, for example, PISA or TEMS score is little bit high, but so the recognition about the science is not so high. That is a Japanese program. Then after that is we try to change their recognition. Then we want to try to experiment.
So just like Naga-sensei mentioned, a very interesting point that based on importance, the language Japanese is still more important as considered to science. But the students, they like science better than Japanese. Is it correct?
Yeah.
About the same.
Yeah, about the same.
So then the other question that he asked is that how science なんか科学はやるにあたってなんか我々の生活にどういうふうにつながるの？そこ重要ですかって。
Very, 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 very important point.
Okay.
So then we believe that but to study science subject is so primary school is very fun, a little bit easy, but so junior high school is a little bit difficult. So they So some students dislike science subject. Then some students after that they recognize science is not important. Then we need not science. 日本理科難しいから、自分にとって必要じゃないというふうに考える子たちが多いです。だから理科を好きにしないと大事だと思う子たちは増えないっていうのが私たちの認識。
For primary school, a lot of students like science, so they think that they do with science. But when it comes to junior high school, what motivates them? One more moment. So when it comes to junior high school, the students become less motivated to learn science, and that point right there, science become not so important. One more question is that もう一つの質問は我々の生活に本当にそこ重要なのかって学んだことは生活に生かせるかっていう大切かどうかとこの質問多分連携してるんですけど、どうやってなんかモチベーションとかやる気をなんか出させる。
That's just a very important and basic concept. So traditional Japanese science education is knowledge based. Knowledge based is connected to the higher science. Science for experts. Then just science knowledge is science education is not for so daily life. Then now is reformed so Japanese science education to connect to the daily life. Then so we try to the LED light and fluorescent light and how different. Recognize the difference. So after that is studies about knowledge. Then we change the cycle, experience and so experiment experience. After that they want to know.
I see. あとなんかどうやって生徒たちをなんかやる気を出させる科学に関して。
Primary school students have a high motivation. The junior high school students motivation is became below. We research about the reason. That is background is mathematics. その比例ってなんだっけ？レシオ。比例って割合。レシオ。レシオのコンセプトが頭の中に定着してないと科学ができなくなるっていう。
まず数学のレシオ。
数学のレシオがとディバイディング割り算ができないとその電圧と電流と抵抗とかのそういう方程式が理解できなくてで一気に嫌いになってしまうので、どちらかというとその理科を嫌いにさせないようにするためにはそこの数学と算数のナレッジをちゃんとそのマスターできるように支援する。体験とそういう概念の合体をさせようとする。
So, Nakaya Sensei mentioned that the main problem in the motivation of science learning is in junior high school. So, what is the main problem there is because in junior high school, the science, right, is the experiments of the concept is more difficult. Yeah. And during the a lot of things deals with, for example, electricity. So, to be able to like or to motivate them to learn more about electricity, right? Actually, they need to master the fundamentals of mathematics, which, for for example, like ratios and how to calculate and how to do certain mathematical problems. So if they are masters, they have mastery in that, then they will be able to understand difficult electrical concepts in junior schools. Yeah, so that's one way to.
Yes.
これ同じですね。なんかモチベートやなんか I think this question, how do you encourage students to learn science, is the same about quite similar to motivate. Ask him whether なんか他になんか使ってなんか数学以外は他になんか考えられるものあるんですか？
そうなんていうか。
そのやる気を出させる。
やる気を出す。Experiment is connect to the motivation.
He also recommends schools to do more experiments. That's another factor. So the first factor, just like you mentioned, is the basic knowledge before learning the science. The point of mathematics is required. Then make sure that the students have some pre-requirements or have some skills in that first before learning. And the second one is to do more experiments. How does COVID situation affect the effectiveness of teaching management in Japan?
なんて言ったらいいんだろう。俺はそうeffective so all
まずは課題があるんですね。affect the teaching effectiveness が効率はよくなってないんですよね。
Effectiveness decrease.
So,
but however, so as we research about the students and pupils, so knowledge level and assessment level is last 2 years ago before after COVID. After COVID,
not much different.
Not different.
なぜですか？ Why?
多分それは
自分で勉強する。
そうまあ日本の場合はサマーバケーションをすごい圧縮して時間を確保して、あと先生たちはあとその手持ちのそのホームワークとかを渡してやったからだと。
Overall, the teaching management effectiveness in Japan during COVID is reduced, but what is found is that the level of knowledge before COVID and after COVID for the overall students in Japan is still the same. So how do they maintain that is the summer vacation period is actually shortened. That's one point. And during this period also the teachers give the students more homework to do. なんか塾を next question to the Japanese students. Attend tutoring school.
Every student attend.
Every student, yeah. So,
but so in Japan is so case so economical situation is so not good. Then so
2 more questions. あと2つ。
Then so not so rich family is cannot attend the tutoring cram school. That is a problem. Best is need not go to the tutoring school, but sometimes they need. Now we for NGO or NPO support free tutoring school. They provide the opportunities.
So the NPO would help those with financial problems. Yeah, so just as Nakasashi mentioned, that every student would attend cram school or tutoring school. Then those with financial problems, there's NPO organizations that help. Yeah. One more question is it?
One more question?
Is that all? さっき
残り2つ
って言ってたんです。
まあ一番いいのは日本に来て COVID が終わったら日本に来て、で、日本の小学校を見てください。After COVID, please come to Japan, the Japanese, then please watch the Japanese school, how to teach science, our science.
Yeah.
Then how, please watch the, how students study the science in laboratory. Here is a so.
If you don't have tools, or what will be the guideline if you don't have tools or laboratories to do experiments? なんか実験機もない、ラボもない。じゃあどんなベーシックでやることは基本的にやることは何ですかっていう質問と思います。
For example, if needs are so electrodes like we make the carbon electrode is buy from the festival.
Do DIY かな。
just DIY.
それ以外は他にあるんですか？
他にある。
例えばもう知識だけ学んでとか。YouTube を見るとか。
So sometimes we provide a YouTube video.
Okay. Naga sensei mentioned DIY. Like for example, this pencil, the lead you can do it yourself. The light. But if you don't know, you can. I think email Naga sensei. He will have a lot of DIY tips for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So we in Japan 70 years ago, we provide an experiment. This is a 70 years ago Japanese science textbook. Yeah. They enjoy the experiment. In Japan, 70 years ago is not so rich. They provide so many teachers provide original experiments tools like this. This is just electromagnetic coils. They make a original.
最後の質問はなんかそういう発達障害とか障害がある人たちに、どうやって教えるんですかって。教育はすごく重要ですけど、そういう障害の人が。
そうで今日本は、そういう障害を持っている人たちにまず実験をするチャンスを提供しています。なぜなら本を読んでも理解しにくいけど実験したら理解がしやすい。
そういう特別支援の学校の中で
両方だね。
両方でもやってる。So Naka Sensei mentioned that the government has a policy even for those with physical and mental disabilities. The teachers or the government is their just responsibility to provide them a chance to do experiments, to do hands-on experiments, and to get engaged in science. Yeah. So that's one policy that one important policies that Japan has. Yeah. はい。それでご質問です。No more question. Okay. Thank you. なんかありがとうとグッバイ。
サワディーか
？Thank you.
Thank you. ありがと
う。See you in Japan.
Please come to Japan. Osaka. Please buy tennis.
That's all. So that's all.
Worlddidac Asia 2021 featuring TVET Connect Workshop will be held from 20 to 22nd of October in an online format. For this edition, the TVET Connect Workshop program will dedicate its 3 days under the theme 3D Partnership, Dual System, Demand Driven, and Skill Development. Meet our exhibitor to sourcing and updated the latest educational resources in technical, vocational education, training equipment, digital technology, smart classroom, STEM and early childhood education. Please register today for free. More information, please visit our website worlddidacasia.com or scan this QR code.